Welcome back. In this week's module, we'll be discussing the data breach workflow chart and also complete milestone 1 for a Department of Labor complaint. As you complete the data breach workflow chart, I want to inform you that your workflow chart does not have to be perfect. I'm going to be evaluating the content and the information that you include in the workflow chart. As you complete the steps that are required to be taken when a data breach occurs, be as specific and detailed as possible. Who needs to be contacted first? Who needs to be contacted second? Which departments internally and externally need to be contacted? And what are the follow-up steps that must be completed when a data breach occurs in an organization? That should be completed on the first slide as you complete your data breach workflow chart. The second slide is for you to explain how sharing confidential information impacts the privacy and security of an organization. How does it impact the employees internally, the customers, and any external constituents that the company interacts with? Finally, you'll describe who to communicate with when a data breach occurs. Include rationale on why you are contacting that individual when they are involved in a data breach, internally and externally, which department should be contacted, any external agencies, and any other employees. Finally, you want to ensure that you have citations as required in the rubric. So if you do any external research, this should be included in your PowerPoint presentation. Again, it's required in the rubric, so ensure you include citations. There will be resources provided to you within this week's announcement, and you can find that information down below in the announcement. Next, when you complete the DOL complaint, evaluate the information that's contained within the Excel spreadsheet with the pay discrepancies. The first part of completing the DOL complaint is for you to evaluate whether or not the customer service representative position is non-exempt or exempt using the FLSA designation worksheet. This worksheet must be uploaded because it will be evaluated once your assignment is graded. In that worksheet, ensure that it is completed in entirety for the evaluation. The worksheet section 2, salary-based non-exemption, annual rate of basic pay is different than the current annual basic rate of pay. That is explained, so use the $32,000 amount when you are evaluating whether or not the customer service representative is considered a non-exempt or exempt level position. Next, you'll present your findings, whether or not the position is considered exempt or non-exempt. Clearly state that in your memo, whether or not the customer service role is exempt and or non-exempt, and explain why you think so. Finally, you'll evaluate the employee pay and discuss your conclusions as to why the employees are being paid correctly or not. Evaluate the Excel data that was provided in its entirety from January, February, and March, the multiple months that were provided to you, and provide that detail in your memo. Finally, you'll investigate risk. So describe the risk to the organization, to the employees, and include that in your analysis. If the company does not address a DOL complaint, what could result when these issues are ignored by an organization? Finally, you want to ensure that your citations are included. The rubric requires that you use a citation. So do your external research. There's also resources provided, again, in this week's announcement and throughout the course material. So do your research and cite it in APA format. If you need assistance, you can always use the library that details more about the APA format. That's all for this week and this week's module. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me via email or put a question in the general chat.